All right. Welcome to this week's episode, everybody. And we made a big upgrade on the podcast mic, and the whole production setup here is better now. We have a couch and a laptop that records in real time, and I'm speaking to you through a Shure MV7, or maybe it's an MV7 Plus, one of these high-end podcast microphones. So, really big news this week out of DC that Trump has offered the entire CIA workforce a buyout similar to other agencies. He's offering them a buyout to resign, part of this Department of Government efficiency thing, where they're just doing basically a line audit of the federal government and seeing what spending is actually legitimate and what spending is, going to stuff that we don't need to pay for. Really incredible. I was saying to a friend of mine the other day that it's almost like the crazy, unhinged QAnon predictions from Trump's last term. This is ancient times, ancient history for many people. But the kind of, fantastical predictions that quote unquote QAnon was making in 2017 and 2018. And I believe even in 2019, before everybody started to focus on the pandemic instead in early 2020. That's kind of what took the wind out of QAnon sails was COVID. But anyway, like the QAnon stuff of, Trump's going to go in there and he's going to totally reshape the federal government. And people who are quote unquote deep state are going to be offered a pink slip. They're going to be told to pack their bags. That's actually what's happening. So again, these people at the CIA getting a very attractive offer to leave. And if you don't really believe in what you're doing and you're just there for a paycheck, it seems like this is a great way to weed those people out. Right? Not only weed them out, but give them something better. If you don't want to be in government, here's some capital to go do something else with your life. Because I think we only want people who really want to be there. And just extraordinary, right? And then he's doing, Trump, with the help of Elon Musk, is doing this update to the federal government that we have not had in decades. And this was long overdue. They want to upgrade the computer systems, and it's been reported by major media outlets that Elon Musk's team, he's got this a team of young programmers and data analysts, and they apparently have read-only access right now to the Treasury Department, so they can't send transactions, in other words, but they can see everything the Treasury Department is sending out. Pretty impressive consolidation of power. And it's important to remember this is what people voted for, under Biden, it felt like the country was just frozen. Whenever something big would happen, like the weather system in the Carolinas that wiped all those people out, and they're still dealing with the after effects of that, just tremendous misery down there. There was no real sense of confidence that Biden or Kamala were looking out for those people. It was just ignored. It was just brushed under the rug. And more than a year ago, all the Maui fires stuff in Hawaii, there was no real sense of confidence in the Biden government to actually give us any real answers. His most recent thing before he left office was, of course, the drones over New Jersey. The drones, or the orbs, just gave us this kind of panicked, very insufficient response when people were asking, what are these things? Now it feels like we have an actual government again. And part of that is cutting out the fat. Part of that is getting rid of outright waste and abuse. And so how can you not applaud this at some level? People saying, Musk is, he's an oligarch who's taking over the government. What nonsense. This is the reform that people voted for. People are sick of a bloated government that has no accountability to the rest of us, sending our money overseas to ridiculous, quixotic stuff. Absolute ridiculousness. If we're going to hardcore building the empire, that'd be one thing. It's going to garbage. It's going to studies on, which kind of alcohol do spider monkeys prefer. Who cares? Who the fuck cares? Time to focus on some real stuff. Time to get the Carolinas back online. Time to rebuild Los Angeles. Half the city's been burnt to the ground. Another area where Biden did not instill much confidence, right? In his final days, he just let one of America's major cities burn to the ground. And now, of course, Trump is releasing water there. At least he's doing things. At least he's using his federal power to do stuff. And we're not going to be like the Charlie Kirk show or something and just compliment Trump on every move he makes. But this is a radically different government from the one we had just a few weeks ago. And now the SEC has a crypto commissioner, a huge step forward that they actually have an office for crypto specifically. Uh, and the Treasury Secretary, this guy, Scott Bessent, not only has he disclosed a fairly large amount of Bitcoin in his portfolio, he fully believes in it. He said something like it's about freedom. Like being able to transact freely is literally about freedom. And so this guy gets it. And I don't think Trump's going to pick 100% perfect people, but in some of these key roles like Treasury Secretary, he's picking people who are night and day different. And so far it seems different in a good way from the predecessors, from Janet Yellen, who is just this permanent fixture in Washington. So I'm going to leave this one because I'm really curious to see if this microphone actually sounds good or if it's just a bunch of marketing hype, because it does look fancy and it gives you this little light bar here that shows you your levels. So you know if you're talking too loud or too close to the microphone. Pretty high tech. We forget we're in the mid 2020s. Things are getting high tech. I remember in podcasting, you just did it on if you had any microphone at all, it's one of those snowball microphones you buy for like $50 at Best Buy, plug it into your desktop. And that was your podcast setup back then. And again, those are the fancy guys, the guys who have the snowball mics. Most of us were just recording on our phones and stuff. And now, look at this. Look at how far we've come. Anyway, incredible couple of weeks. It's really been a wild thing to see and to witness. And I'm not sure at all that we're going to get one of those press passes, but we did apply. And we do have the numbers to qualify for it. 132,000 of you over on YouTube. And then, additional numbers on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. But to have that core audience of 132,000 people back on YouTube, and they're people who are smart, and they're people who have similar interests, people who followed things like Bitcoin in the past and followed us for our coverage of Trump's first term. This is your place. This is where you should be for the next 4 years. Under Biden, I was active with Fulcrum's Media. I was actively putting out stuff through our newsletter, which you can sign up for free if you haven't yet. More than 3,500 of you get it. I was busy on the newsletter. We had a TikTok that took off for a little while, got up past 50,000 followers before they banned us over there. But I felt out of place. It felt like the people in D.C., which is only a 30-minute drive from me, like an invasion of the body snatchers, just weird people who give you this weird pizza head smile, and they're rabidly against crypto, and you don't really know why. And all they seem to care about is transgender rights to the exclusion of seemingly everything else in modern adult civilization. What they care about are the rights of adults who are choosing to change their gender through surgery. And it's like, why is this your focus? I'm not a bigot. I'm not against these people. Why is this literally the focus of so many people in the federal government? Just at all costs protecting the rights of people who choose to do something that's frankly pretty fringe. Why is that the focus? Why isn't the focus, taking us back to the moon, or the focus eradicating disease or eradicating poverty, or again, cleaning up the Carolinas and rebuilding Los Angeles, figuring out what the fuck happened in Hawaii a couple of years ago? Shouldn't that be the focus? So again, these people who are belly aching and going along with the legacy media, oh, Musk is taking over. No, we were already taken over. We were taken over by corruption and waste. And now we have some people actually going in there doing exactly what the voters wanted. This is 100% what people voted for. Does Trump have a mandate at the moment to reform government? Absolutely. This is a guy who was shot at. This is a guy who was made a felon by a biased system that never would have targeted him if he had not been former president. And so that's what people wanted. People wanted somebody to go in there and actually reform this corruption. And I don't think Trump would have been as effective if he had not been so victimized. Trump sees he's not just the golden boy, right? He's had a very easy life in some respects. His years in reality TV, his successes in real estate. In some respects, he's had a very easy life. And then suddenly he's made a felon. Things aren't that easy anymore. And suddenly his security is not as good as it should be because, again, somebody shot at him. Almost killed him, right? Somebody almost killed him. So certainly that near-death experience combined with seeing that, even you could be taken down by the corrupt establishment bureaucracy. There's a massive need for reform. And again, there's a mandate for it. It's not just a need. He has a mandate to do what he's doing with people like Elon Musk, going through every dollar the U.S. government sends out its doors.